Pro Kart Raceland welcomes the FIA Karting community once again for the season finale of the European Championships in Junior and OK at Wackersdorf in Germany. A venue with sporting passion embedded in its very foundations, with karting both indoors and outdoors on site, it provides a very different challenge as the competitors' quest for glory in the European crown. Let's join Hannes Janker on board around a lap of Wackersdorf. Flat on the throttle from the final bend, through the left kink and all the way into turn 2 if you're brave, and then heavy braking for turn 3, which is a common overtaking zone. Smooth and steady, back on the power, and still accelerating through the left-hander before another big stop into turn 5. Coax the kart out of the left into a pair of square right-handers. The second is particularly tough. Keep the kart square over the curb, then into the chicane, plunge into the right, correct any slide in the left with a blip of the throttle. Now down the back straight up to a very challenging hairpin. Apply the brakes, be patient on the throttle, and keep off the curb to gain the fastest line. Now down a short stretch towards the next tight right hairpin. This opens on exit and you're back on the power and over the crest. Prepare for the kick in momentum and guide the kart into the final right-hander, accelerating hard mid-apex as the last corner spits you onto the main straight for a flying finish to an incredible lap. The junior title fight sees 3 men duel for the crown: Hugo Wackersdorf, Arvid Lindblad and Tuka Tarpanen. Each man has a chance to claim the victory, but there are a number of wildcards competing this weekend as borders reopen and drivers take their first steps into international competition.
I'm really confident, so we just have to keep pushing this weekend. This track is much different from Sarno-Zvera. You know, in Sarno-Zvera is very long and here it's very short and misty. So we have to work a setup that's good and fast, and we'll see. I think we have good speed, so hopefully we can keep this advantage. We have to do good in the heats in the final as well. So we have to be consistent and no crashes. There are a lot of passing places, but it's also very easy to crash. It's hard to go side by side, so hopefully we get a good qualifying so we can start in front. Honestly, the pace is good, so it's going to be hard to get qualifying, try to get a nice tow, but not to get traffic so we can start in front for the heats.
Now we have a few practice coming and speed didn't was so good, but hope so we share good speed. Zvera was so fast, this is very slow track. Ugo is very fast and also Lindblad is my behind. I tried to win, but podium is really good.
Yeah, it's a very different circuit. Its style is very different. It brings different challenges to us as drivers. It's very tight, twisty, technical. The driver makes a very big difference here. And Sarno and Zvera are much bigger, very high speed corners. For me, I'm not really too worried about the championship. I'm coming into this weekend, I'm more focused on just doing the best I can. I know that if I do the best I can, I hopefully can come higher in the championship. But I'm not really too bothered about where I finish. It's more about doing the best I can and getting as many points as possible this weekend. Because if I win, amazing. Second is good for the team, 1-2 hopefully. And if I come third, it's fine, it is what it is. I've done well this year, being consistent, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, it's a lot different from the USA, a lot more power, more grip. It's tight, very technical, fast. It's a lot more power first and then a lot more grip too. It's a lot different. Try not to put my confidence too high and just do the best I can. Every session I go faster and faster.
I'm a bit nervous because I never drive so a big race, but I'm also happy. I like this track, this is my favorite one, and because I feel good here, I hope I come under the 40 one because this is my first one and I'm nervous for sure. I give my best and then we look to the result.
Yeah, the paces seem quite good, you know, we're just still learning the tyre, but, you know, I want to thank SFR Motorsport for giving me the opportunity to show what I can really do. Yeah, it's going to be a tall ask, but I'm hoping to come away with a good result, you know, I think the package is there, hopefully I can extract the maximum out of it. Oh, it's one of my favourite tracks in the whole of Europe, it's just so fun to drive, the chicane especially, it's just how the kart moves under you is amazing. I'm just going to, you know, to see what happens, try and get the best experience that I can. There are a few drivers that I've raced in the past years, but I'm just trying to do the best I can.
As the final began, Hugo Ugachukwu and Harley Keeble made a superb start up to the first hairpin, as Arvid Lindblad had to settle for third place in the early stages. But by the time the field had completed the first sector, Martinius Stenshorn had managed to pass him to move into third place, whilst behind them, Max Dodds was slicing through the pack, making up 15 places in 2 laps, although sadly, his race would end soon after, with engine trouble. Lindblad didn't take long to pass Stenshorn once again for third, whilst the impressive wildcard Joel Bergstrom was unable to stay in the race after an incident dropped him out. There was civil war at Tony Kart, as Bruno Del Pino defended valiantly from his teammate and home favourite Maxime Rem, whilst behind them Ariel Elkin was struggling to do the same, and allowed Belgian talent Ian Eichmans to make his move around the outside. It was a few more laps before Lindblad could close in on Harley Keeble, and he moved ahead in the left-hand hairpin at the end of the lap. It would be a sad end to the European Championship for Freddie Slater after a tangle with Alexei Yeleva. A slight error from Ugachukwu dropped him into the path of Lindblad, who pounced in the final bend, and Keeble made his own offence on the main straight. Stenshorn then did the deed himself to take third place, and it was just the beginning of a terrific comeback from the Norwegian. 1 lap later, and he dived on the inside of Keeble and snatched second position away in fine style. But the Brit wouldn't settle for third, and grabbed second place back almost immediately. Their duel would soon become even more intense, as Stenshorn won the position back again, and just as before, Keeble once more returned the favour, as their duel continued, but Ugachukwu was getting very close. The American eventually urged his way back into third, and this was bad news for Stenshorn, as now he had both Maxime Rem and Bruno Del Pino hot on his heels, and when the German saw a gap, his Spanish colleague decided to up the ante. The move worked for him, but backfired for his teammate, as Pantano's young star Sonny Smith was now in the battle. Rem claimed the place back, however, into turn 2. Del Pino became impatient and launched into the hairpin at turn 5, but his exit was compromised, and Stenshorn kept his foot in around the outside for a sensational retaliation. Rem took full advantage of this and managed to retake Del Pino shortly after. Rem would then make a bold lunge on Sonny Smith, and having kept the German at bay, Smith was not about to let him through easily. Meanwhile, Ugachukwu would pass Keeble for second place, and Tuka Tarpanen would spin off heading into the final lap, ending a frustrating season third place in the European Championship. Ahead of them all, Lindblad would claim the runner-up spot in the title race with an emphatic victory, whilst in second place, just ahead of Harley Keeble, the new European champion was finally crowned, Hugo Ugachukwu of the United States. Lindblad was victorious and ecstatic, but second place in the title race would have to do. So as Harley Keeble ends his debut season on the podium, Hugo Ugachukwu is the first American to become European champion, and Arvid Lindblad rounds out his consistent season with a deserving victory. A great day at the office for Kart Republic.
Yeah, it was a good race. Looking back on it, it looked a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a very difficult race because Hugo had unbelievable speed in all the heats, winning all 5 of them, and I thought it was going to be a very difficult race to stay with him. It didn't turn out like that. We had much better pace than I expected. I managed to get into the lead, I think like lap 9, lap 10, which was I was quite lucky in a sense because one of the drivers went off in the chicane the lap before and Hugo picked up all the dirt and broke at this normal point in the first hairpin, but because he had all the dirt on his tyres, understeered and went really wide, and then I was right on the back of him, and then overtook into the last corner, which Harley helped me and followed me through, and then I got a bit of a gap because there's quite a lot of fighting with Harley, Ugo and Martinez, which helped me, and I think the pace was good though. Even at the end when Ugo got into second, I managed to keep the gap. He didn't really gain on me at all, and a little bit on the first 2 laps, but then I managed the race very well, and yeah, I'm really happy with the result. Second in the championship is good.
The whole weekend we had some good pace. I won all of my heats. So going to the final, I already won the championship and I was planning on winning the race as well. And around lap 9, I was in the lead and there was some dirt on the track which made me go wide. And it pushed me down to 4th. Thankfully, I managed to come back to P2, but unfortunately the leader was gone. So disappointing that I couldn't win, but P2 is a great result and I'm happy for the European Championship. In some ways, it could be more difficult than the World because you have to be consistent. You can't just be fast in one race. So I was happy that I could be consistent through all 3 rounds and I'm very happy. I'd like to thank the whole Car Republic, Dino Chiesa, he had faith in me since I joined the team. And my mechanic Steven and Richard Dale did a good job to help me get this title. It's going to be hard because winning both is not very easy. I'll try to win the World as well, but if we can't do it, I'll try to get on the podium.
Well, it was just consistent heats and then just finish the job in the final. And we were very fast throughout the heat. So I took the lead and then they all overtook me back. Well, Martinez, Hugo and Arvid. And then I got Martinez back. Yeah, I think we have a little bit of work to do, but not much. I think we can get there by the final.
Yeah, I mean, we arrived here this week, leading the championship with Ugo. And Arvid was 3rd in the championship. So we knew we had a good chance to close or win the championship, either with Ugo or with Arvid this weekend. Qualifying started good for both of them. Arvid was 2nd in his group, Ugo was 1st in his group. We knew Ugo already won the championship before the final, but still, I mean, he gave it a chance or a go and tried to win it. But Arvid was slightly better this final, deserved to win. He did a fantastic job. So both drivers did a perfect weekend. If we start from Dino, who's the boss, to Flavio, who was here earlier, myself, and together with all mechanics, the engine tuners, I mean, everyone done a fantastic job. And then we have drivers like Ugo and Arvid, which is, I mean, top drivers, but they also work well together. During the test days, we compare all the data and each other push themselves forward. I mean, of course I'm confident, and then let's say World Champion, it's always one race. The European, you have 3 rounds. The World Championship is more, everything have to be perfect that weekend. But I'm confident we're going to go there, test before. We're going to do a pre-race before, so we're going to be well prepared.
Two men battle for the OK European Championship, Taylor Barnard and Kimi Antonelli, and the 2 Kart Republic teammates must push to the limit. Whoever beats the other will be European champion. Elsewhere, the outgoing champion Lorenzo Travasanuto has joined Parolin, which will make things very interesting ahead of the World Championships.
Second place for the Cosmic Racing Department. Lucio will be there in position from the outside of the front row. His consistency this weekend is not to be denied. He's Jason in top 1.
It's looking quite good at the moment. I just need to keep good, consistent results and hopefully we can bring the championship home. It's very tense because it's very close all the time. You can follow quite close behind, so I think it'll be good racing. Honestly, I'm coming into this weekend just like a normal weekend, just trying to make maximum points, and if we can take the championship, that'll be a bonus.
It's still a long way until Sunday, but we're gonna work really hard for achieve this goal. As always, we try to find the best way for the chassis, and yeah, it's a bit different because this track is completely different. You don't have really long straight. In this track is also pretty small compared to Zuera and Sarno. The first thing that we do is trying to find the best way for the chassis, and then also the drive have to change their driving style. Yeah, it's gonna be very tough because Taylor is really fast, like always, and yeah, it's gonna be also fun as well, but I'll do the best. Yeah, compared to Sarno and Duera, here the gap is closer, also between us and the other team, so it's gonna be a really tight challenge.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. We are third in the championship, so it's quite good. And this week we actually have a good speed, so it's very high expectations. Yeah, it's actually quite a good circuit. It's different driving style and different setups. It's difficult to finish higher in the championship because first two are quite high. But yeah, we still have to fight and maybe we can do it.
It's a very different condition to the first two rounds of the European Championship. Both the track layout and the atmosphere are different to what we were using in the previous events, so we will have to adapt our equipment to it. And obviously it's also a good occasion to start testing some new stuff and bring on the development for the most important date of the year, which is the World Championship in Portimao. For sure, Lorenzo has a great experience and will add some value to our project. Last minute call, so we haven't had enough time to prepare this event, so we will start with him working on the main focus of the season, which is the World Championship. But we're all very excited of this project. We've known with Lorenzo from many years, so there's a good chemistry between us. So we're looking forward to do some good things together. You know, every driver has his own situation and story, so James proved to be very fast and competitive, and now we will make sure that Lorenzo will also be able to compete for good levels. It's not the easiest of the rounds for us, but we keep working hard and try to get the best out of our package.
It's been a tough season for me, so on, and so I had a change to try to find new feelings, try to come back, and so I wanted to try a new change to find some new stimulus and stuff to push on. Well, you know, as I said, I was struggling quite a bit, and so we had very different views of working and what to do to try to get better. And I understand absolutely their philosophy and they understand mine, and so it was just different point of views, and we decided together accordingly to split ways. So nothing big. Just that's the way that goes. Well, I know Parolin, all the family and all the guys from the team from a long time. I know them very well, and they were really keen to work and try to build up something together. And so we both decided to take this challenge, and I was happy to join them. Well, I think it's more or less a business between Antonelli and Barnard at the moment, and as I did also in 2018 when I was out of the championship, I don't really want to get involved in the fight, and I just want to do my race and try to improve as much as possible.
Kimi Antonelli headed into the lead from the start, with Rafael Chavez-Camara managing to use the inside line to good advantage to surge into second place past the Italian star for Cosmic, Luigi Coluccio. Despite the close nature of the starts at Wackersdorf, there were no major dramas at the start of the final, although the clean getaway was almost spoilt by Charlie Wirtz and Vincent Andronaco, but they both managed to keep going. Marcus Amond was bouncing back from his crash in the heats at Sarno to storm past Norton Andreasen and back into the hunt for the podium. Further back, Jamie Day would run wide off the circuit at turn 3, and it would turn out to be an incident that also took out the former European champion Hannes Janka, who would drop to the back of the field. Nicholas Bertolatti then took on Joe Turney for third place and made it work. But behind them, Lorenzo Patresi's rapid weekend came to a premature end, with wildcard Moritz Viskirchen and his own teammate, Miron Pingasov. Joel Mesh and Jenis Savico were in another incident further round, but quick work from the marshals prevented the race from running under caution. Not that it made things better for Pingasov. Both he and eventually his Kart Republic teammate Patrese, the race would end abruptly. Taylor Barnard was on the comeback trail up to 4th position, having started down in a lowly 9th. And he wasn't the only one pouncing on the Tony car. Marcus Amond would be the next man to pass, and at exactly the same spot. Joel Mesh was now a spectator, and dramatically, Nicholas Bertolatti was sadly joining him. A mechanical failure robbed the unlucky Finn of an almost certain podium. So now attention turned to Coluccio, as he made his bid to pass Turney. which fell on deaf ears. When a door opens, two karts can sometimes get through, as Laurens van Hopen and Matthias Morgato proved by passing Luca Griggs. But Morgato then caught Van Hopen napping 2 corners later, as the Brazilian valiantly waved the flag for Birolard. Patience finally paid off for Coluccio as he boldly carved his way past Turney. But Kimi Antonelli drove calmly and smoothly for a victory he'll never forget. His win made him European champion by just 2 points. But sadly, Taylor Barnard couldn't salvage a podium after his amazing fight back after a drop-down penalty promoted Marcus Amon to the podium behind Rafael Chaves Camara. But for Antonelli, it was a moment he could savour and cherish. He follows in the footsteps of his countryman Lorenzo Travasanuto, who last year won the same accolade. So Marcus Amon of France and Rafael Chaves Camara of Brazil end their seasons in a high note. But by winning the race, Kimi Antonelli becomes European champion, and Kart Republic Motorsport takes a clean sweep of victories here at Wackersdorf.
No words to explain. This weekend has been really good, almost perfect as you said. I'm really happy. Started from P1 in the final. And then, it was really hard because, my opponent stays really close to me for almost the whole race. It was hard because also sometimes, some other driver were going off, so I was taking the grass. But at the end, I still managed to keep the gap and win the race. I think for sure it's gonna be a good challenge for the World Championship. And in this way, we will work very hard for be as fast as possible for the World Championship.
We make a solid weekend. Now at the final we are really fast, but after 15 laps Kimi starts to go away and then just try to do my best. I think we can make more tests to improve more and arrive in the World Champion fast, like here.
3 weeks ago I got a big crash, so I couldn't do the test because of the pain. So we came here with no setups or anything. So we worked very hard on the practice, and for once I managed to get a good qualifying to start in front. And it was very good on the qualifying heats. Managed to build up some positions and started 4th at the final. The last time I was in Portimao I won, so I'll do it maybe again. I'll try, but we'll see there.
We arrived here knowing that we already lead in the championship with Taylor Barnard, and Kimi knew that I have to do the perfect weekend to beat him. So immediately from the practice, both were very fast, and we knew that the fight would be until the final. Kimi did everything perfect, no mistakes, and until the final that he take the lead immediately, and then until the end he was there. Strong, hot condition, small track, it's not easy, 26 laps, he did all. Taylor, by his side, he tried the best to come back after a bad hit yesterday. He was not starting beside Kimi, sorry. And he did his best to come back. He arrived only 3rd. It showed that the pace for all the championship was great for both of them, because they went on the podium all races. Then just penalties for Taylor for the bumper, stop him to not be in the podium again, and show how strong are both of them. And I'm really happy for them. So with the work of the whole team, like we always do, I think we can do a great job as always. All our telemetry guys, all the people that work, always give a great effort. Even if we start not in a great shape in the first day, the work of everybody normally brings back us to the top quickly.
An American and an Italian have claimed the ultimate European prize. And now, with 7 weeks to go before the drivers meet again, the next objective begins. The World Championship heads to Portimao in Portugal, where the drivers seek perfection in one incredible weekend. Next for us is the Gearbox and Academy drivers, questing for their world crowns at Lonato in Italy next month. Until then, from Wackersdorf, auf Wiedersehen!